The Tathāgata's Lifespan, Chapter 16. At that time the Buddha said to the Bodhisattvas and the entire great assembly, "Good men, you should believe and understand the sincere and truthful words of the Tathāgata." He repeated to the great assembly, "You should believe and understand the sincere and truthful words of the Tathāgata." Yet again he said to the great assembly, "You should believe and understand the sincere and truthful words of the Tathāgata." Then Maitreya, who led the great multitude of bodhisattvas, placed his palms together and said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, we sincerely hope that you will speak. We shall accept the Buddha's words with faith." He said this 3 times. Again he said, "We sincerely hope that you will speak. We shall accept the Buddha's words with faith." At that time the world-honored one, knowing that the bodhisattvas would not stop at 3 requests and would continue to entreat him, said to them, "Listen attentively as I tell you about the Tathāgata's esoteric spiritual powers. Gods, humans, and asuras in every world all say that Śākyamuni Buddha, having left the palace of the Shākyan clan and gone to his site of awakening not far from Gaya city, has now attained Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Good men, I actually realized Buddhahood countless, limitless billions of kotis of nayutas of eons ago. Suppose a person were to grind 5 billion kotis of nayutas of asamkhiyas of tri-kiliocosms into motes of dust. Then suppose this person traveled east across 5 billion kotis of nayutas of asamkhiyas of worlds and deposited 1 mote of dust there. Suppose this person continued in this way, traveling ever eastward until he had exhausted all the motes of dust. Good men, what do you think? Could the number of the worlds he passed through be conceived? Is it possible to know their number?" Maitreya Bodhisattva and the others all said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, those worlds would be countless, limitless, beyond calculation, and beyond the power of the mind to know. All Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, using their wisdom free of outflows, could not calculate or know their number. We now dwell on the ground of Avaivartika, but we cannot comprehend this matter. World-honored one, such would be the countless, limitless number of these worlds." At that time, the Buddha said to the multitude of great bodhisattvas, "Good men, I shall now explain this clearly for you. If all these worlds, whether or not a mote of dust had been deposited in them, were ground into dust, and if each dust mote were an eon, the time that has passed since I became a Buddha would exceed that number by billions of kotis of nayutas of asamkhiyas of eons. Since then, I have always remained in the Sahā world, teaching the Dharma to transform living beings. I have also been guiding and benefiting living beings elsewhere, in billions of kotis of nayutas of asamkhiyas of lands. Good men, in this interval I have spoken of Buddha Dīpamkara, burning lamp, and of his entering parinirvāṇa. I have explained this through skillful means. Good men, when living beings come before me, I observe with my Buddha eye the keenness or dullness of their root of faith and other roots. By presenting myself under different names and ages, whether old or young, I take them across depending on appropriate conditions. I also appear and announce that I am about to enter parinirvāṇa. In addition, I employ various skillful means to expound the subtle, wonderful Dharma, enabling living beings to rejoice. Good men, seeing that living beings of scant virtue and grave defilements favor lesser dharmas, the Tathāgata says to them, I renounced the household life when I was young and attained anuttara samyak bodhi. However, the time since I attained Buddhahood has indeed been as lengthy as described. I speak in this way merely as an expedient to teach and transform living beings and lead them to the Buddha's path. Good men, the Tathāgata teaches all the sutras for the purpose of saving and liberating living beings. He may talk about his life or that of another. He may teach by setting a personal example or by pointing to others as examples. He may narrate his past lives or those of others. All that he says is true and not false. Why is this so? The Tathāgata knows and sees the true characteristics of the three realms. Within them, there is no coming into being or ceasing to be, no retreating or transcending, no existing in the world or passing into stillness. They are neither real nor illusory, neither the same nor different. He does not view the three realms in the same way as living beings of the three realms do. The Tathāgata's view of these matters is clear, without flaw or error. Because living beings have various natures, desires, actions, perceptions, and conceptual discriminations, the Buddha, wishing to lead them to bring forth good roots, uses various causes and conditions, analogies and explanations to teach them all kinds of dharma, carrying out the work of a Buddha without respite. In this way, an extremely long time has passed since I realized Buddhahood. My lifespan is countless asamkhiyas of eons, eternal and never-ending. Good men, the lifespan resulting from my past practice of the Bodhisattva path has not ended yet, and is many times the above number. So even as I now proclaim that I am about to enter parinirvāṇa, I am not really entering parinirvāṇa. The Tathāgata uses this as an expedient to teach and transform living beings. For what reason? If the Buddha were to remain in the world forever, those of scant virtue would not plant good roots. They would remain poor and lowly, coveting the 5 desires and becoming ensnared in the nets of schemes and false views. Seeing the Tathāgata always present and never entering parinirvāṇa, they would become arrogant, lax, and weary, not realizing how difficult it is to encounter him, and not revering him in their hearts. For this reason, the Tathāgata expediently says, Bhikshus, you should know that it is difficult to encounter a Buddha appearing in the world. Why? Those of scant virtue could pass through countless billions of kotis of eons, during which time they may or may not meet a Buddha. Because of that, I say the following. Bhikshus, the Tathāgata is difficult to encounter. These living beings, hearing such words, will then certainly realize how difficult it is to encounter a Buddha. With admiration and yearning for the Buddha in their hearts, they will plant good roots. That is the reason the Tathāgata speaks of entering parinirvāṇa, although he does not actually enter parinirvāṇa. Furthermore, good men, the teachings of all Buddhas, Tathāgatas, are like this. Their teachings are intended to save living beings, and are in all cases true, never false. Suppose there is a good physician who is wise and knowledgeable in the art of medicine and skilled at healing myriad sicknesses. This physician has many sons, 10, 20, or even 100. Called away on business, he travels to distant countries. Thereafter, his children drink some poison, which, when it takes effect, makes them roll on the ground in anguish and delirium. Just then, their father returns home. After taking the poison, some sons had lost their senses, while others had not. Upon seeing their father in the distance, they are all overjoyed. They bow, kneel down, and happily greet him. "We are glad to see you return safely. In our foolishness, we took some poison by mistake. We hope that you will cure us and restore us to health." Seeing his children in such agony, the father consults a variety of medical texts and searches for fine herbs of good color, aroma, and flavor, superb in all aspects. He then grinds, sifts, and blends them together, and gives the compound to his children, saying, "This is an excellent medicine, of good color, aroma, and flavor, superb in all aspects. Take it. You will be quickly relieved of your agony, and you will suffer no further torment." Those children who have not lost their senses, seeing the fine medicine, good in both color and aroma, immediately take it, and their sickness is completely cured. Although those who have lost their senses likewise rejoiced at their father's arrival, inquired after his well-being, and begged to be cured of their illness, they refuse to take the medicine when it is given. What is the reason? The poisonous vapors have penetrated so deeply that they have lost their wits, and therefore say that despite its good color and aroma, the medicine is not good. The father then thinks, "How pitiful these children are! The poison has confused their minds. They were happy to see me and asked me for treatment, yet they refuse to take this good remedy. I shall now devise a skillful means to coax them into taking the medicine." Then he says, "You know that I am now old and feeble, and the time of my death draws near. I now leave this good medicine here for you. Do not worry that you will not recover." Having given these instructions, he travels to another country and sends a messenger back to announce, "Your father is dead." When the children hear that their father is dead, their hearts are grief-stricken, and they think, "If our father were here, he would save and protect us out of pity and compassion. Now he has forsaken us and died in a distant country, leaving us orphaned and helpless, with no one to rely upon." Their constant sorrow awakens their minds. Understanding that the medicine has good color, aroma, and flavor, they take it immediately and recover from their poisoning. The father, hearing that his sons have all recovered, returns before long, so that they may see him again. Good men, what do you think? Could anyone say that this good physician lied? No, world-honored one. The Buddha said, "I too am like this. I realized Buddhahood countless, limitless billions of kotis, of nayutas, of asamkhiyas of eons ago. For the sake of benefiting all living beings, I employ the power of skillful means, and say that I am about to enter parinirvāṇa. I do not think that anyone would rightly say that I have lied." At that time, the world-honored one, wishing to restate his meaning, spoke in verse, "Since I attained Buddhahood, eons have passed, countless billions of kotis of asamkhiyas. I always expound the Dharma to teach countless kotis of living beings, leading them to enter the Buddha's path. Throughout countless eons, I expediently appear to enter nirvana in order to take living beings across. Yet I do not actually pass into stillness, but remain here, always teaching the Dharma. I always stay right here. By the power of my spiritual skills, I make myself invisible to living beings, who are near me, yet do not see me. Seeing me pass into nirvana, multitudes far and wide make offerings to my sharira. They all yearn for me and admire me in their hearts. As living beings become faithful and compliant, upright and malleable in mind, they wish with all their hearts to see the Buddha, not even caring for their own lives. At that time, the Sangha and I appear together on Vulture Peak. Then I say to living beings that I am always here and never cease to be. Through the power of skillful means, I can decide if I want to appear to enter nirvana or not. There are living beings in other lands who are reverent, faithful, and joyful. I also appear in their midst to teach them the supreme Dharma. But you who do not hear this think that I have passed into stillness. When I see living beings drowning in misery, I do not show myself to them, so that they will long for me. Then, when their minds are full of yearning, I present myself to teach them the Dharma. Such is the strength of my spiritual powers that throughout asamkhya eons I always remain on Vulture Peak, yet also appear in other places. When living beings see the eon ending in a great conflagration, my lands remain peaceful and secure, always filled with gods and humans. Their gardens, groves, halls, and pavilions are adorned with various treasures. Flowers and fruit abound among the jeweled trees, amid which living beings can roam in delight. The gods beat celestial drums, playing various rhythms as they rain down Mandarava flowers on the Buddha and the Great Assembly. My pure land remains intact, but the multitudes see it completely consumed by fire. Thereafter, worry, terror, and misery prevail everywhere. All these beings with offenses, because of their bad karmic causes and conditions, pass through asamkhya eons without hearing the name of the three jewels. Those who have cultivated merit, who are compliant and straightforward, will all see me here teaching the Dharma. At times I teach this assembly that the Buddha's lifespan is limitless. For those who see the Buddha only after a long time, I teach that the Buddha is difficult to meet. The power of my wisdom is such that its light shines infinitely. My lifespan of countless eons results from long cultivation. Those of you who are wise should entertain no doubts. Dispel your doubts entirely and forever, for the Buddha's words are true, not false. Consider a physician well versed in skillful means, who, to cure his insane children, says he is dead when he is actually alive. Who would fault him for this? I, too, as a father to the world, save all those in suffering and distress. To ordinary beings, deluded as they are, I speak of nirvana when I am actually right here. If they were to see me constantly, they would become proud and lax, self-indulgent and attached to the 5 desires, and would fall into the lower realms. I am always aware of all living beings, those who practice the path and those who do not. I teach a variety of dharmas to take them across according to their conditions. I always ponder this thought: how can I enable living beings to realize unsurpassed wisdom and quickly perfect the body of a Buddha?